since you set this whole thing up as his father is such a big part of his life, why not have Joe meet his father in the afterlife and then have them both stumble back down onto Earth? Um, and then his dad ends up in Joe, and then Joe can end up in another person, a black person or whoever. And then his dad actually gets to, live out his dreams for one last time. You know, it's sort of like a father son like thing where, like, his dad decides, I want to live out this dream one last time or something like that. And then his dad ends up sacrificing himself and his happiness, in terms of like, I'm gonna, I've lived my dream now. You go on and you continue to play and be great. And that would, you know how beautiful that would have been? Do you know how touching and heartfelt and heartwarming that would have been to see? Then at the end of but at the end of the movie, you want the black man to sacrifice himself for this white woman. We did not come to see. I did not come to see this. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is your boy Jabbar, the Kakashi Cowboy, back with another review. I have been very late on the reviews. Also, I just had some family stuff going on. Actually, I had a family member pass away, so I was just taking time to be by myself. Specifically, my grandmother had passed away, so I was just taking time to be by myself. Really wasn't focused on like doing reviews, but I am back. I want to get back into reviewing, and actually, I want to start with Soul. I had meant to do a review of Soul when it first came out because I had watched it over the break. I think a lot has already been said about Soul, so I'm not going to go too deep into like all of the criticisms, but just know that all the criticisms I agree with. I agree with. I mean, I'll put those links in the description box below. Yet again, turning a black main character into an animal or into an unidentifiable object that is anything but just a regular black person. Like, we just can't have black people on screen being themselves. They have to turn into something different so that white audiences can make the feel like comfortable and acceptable. It can feel acceptable, so you have to turn it into something that like white people actually like dogs and cats and birds, or even in this case, Soul, he gets turned into a cat, but he gets turned dead into a soul first. So like like white people can deal with like black people being dead. They can deal with black people being like animals. But one thing that they can never do is just be themselves on screen. I actually like TinaFey, but I was very disappointed that TinaFey, I just didn't, when I first saw the trailer for it, I didn't understand what TinaFey's role was going to be. And then I actually found out when I watched the actual movie, and the fact that, she would be sort of doing this whole like body snatchers thing with the black man's body, giving me very Get Out vibes, like white woman inside black man's body. People were, of course, arguing back and forth. Oh no, she's not really supposed to be a white woman. Tina Fey's voice is very recognizable. We all know it's Tina Fey when we hear it, just like we all know it's Jamie Foxx when we hear it. They have very recognizable voices. They also have races attached to those voices. We know what they look like. We are visualizing the people who are speaking as they are talking. That is a white woman inside a black man's body. I feel like so many times as reviewers, we're so busy like giving critiques that we forget like maybe we should like actually offer an alternative. What could have happened instead of this thing happening. And that's what I kind of want to do right now. Soul was marketed as a homage to not only jazz culture but Black American culture. It was heavily marketed like, oh, this is Pixar's first movie with a black lead. And they were like really like excited about it, and like they were like, oh, we're being progressive and all this other stuff and yada yada yada. We're really about this, representation life and all this other stuff. Just from from a basic critique, this didn't feel like a kids movie. This movie had very adult themes. I sat down to watch it. Me and my girlfriend sat down to watch it together because we had just watched Wonder Woman and thought it was complete trash. And we wanted actually to watch something that was actually going to be good. And so we sat down and watched this movie. And then this movie was also trash. She wasn't feeling it either, as well as me. And she was like, "This is very dark." Like she was like, this is extremely, extremely inappropriate as a children's movie. I felt the same way. I think it's extremely, extremely inappropriate to be having all these conversations about death and this idea of living a meaningful life. I mean, for there was so much stuff going on. Like I'm 25 years old. I teach at university. In terms, I have a lectureship at a university, and I teach there English. You know, I teach like analysis and like following stories. That's my job, and like it was difficult for me to follow all of the different moves and all of the different theories and ideologies that were being worked with. All of these sort of philosophical figures like Mother Teresa and Einstein and Muhammad Ali showed up, and they're all talking about this fantastic. They're talking all this philosophy and how to be a good. It's just like this is not a kids movie. This is not a kids movie. Like I don't think it's wrong. I don't feel like we should treat kids as if they're stupid. But at the same time, there's not treating a kid like they're stupid and then going to a point of like, are they supposed to be a scholar? So it really felt like the director, and he's a white guy. I forget his name. I'll probably put it here below, right here. But it really felt like he's a white guy, old white guy, middle age. It really felt like he was going through a midlife crisis. And so you're marketing this movie that one is about your own midlife crisis, about a middle-aged man going through a midlife crisis, trying to figure his life out and how he got here and all this other stuff. It feels like average white guy midlife crisis stuff that's going on, but it's just applied to a black character because Pixar had promised us a black lead and an homage to jazz culture and to black American culture, but this white guy felt it was more important to like talk about his own theories and philosophies around his own midlife crisis that he's having right now as a director or whatever artist or whatever he's doing. Like literally at one point in the movie, I think that Joe, our main character, says something like, "I lived a meaningless life." I'm like, damn. I don't think that the whole concept need to be thrown out the window. I think there's some stuff that we could work with here, in talking about death, but it needs to be dumbed down a lot. It needs to like scale back. Take away. Why is Mother Teresa here? Stop, stop, stop. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. Like, why is Mother Teresa here? Why is Einstein here? Why are all of these philosophers here? Like, why are they here? Other than just you read them, other than this white guy who's making the project, which is a problem within itself. Why is a white guy making a project that's supposed to be about black people? That's another issue. And then they also didn't get even a black composer to do the score for the jazz music. There's a black guy that came on at the 11th hour. He already came out and said, like, they put me on at the last minute and I tried to make as much changes as I could, type of thing. After they got some backlash from, I guess, from people who had seen, like, a preview before, because I didn't see a preview before or nothing like that. So I wasn't privy to this, but I guess he got put on at the 11th hour to, like, and he said, I think he put in like the little collage images at the end of the movie where his dad comes in. He put that in there, and he put some stuff about the barbershop in there and stuff like that. So it's like, I think that they even said that like Joe was really supposed to be cut out of most of the movie. So this movie wasn't about black people, and it's just like that's fine. If you want to make your movie about your white life midlife crisis, white male midlife crisis, that's fine. Make that movie. But this is not how you marketed the movie to me. I was expecting to sit down during Christmas or whatever, and like really like get this feel good, nice black homage to seeing all these black characters, and the guy's dead for most of the movie. He dies within 10 minutes. Secondly, I think there could have been small things changed, like dialing back the death scenes of the afterlife. That could have been changed. I think that if you wanted to keep 22 as a character, why didn't you get a little black kid to voice 22? Why TinaFey? That's why I feel like some of this stuff is done purposefully. It's like, why get a white woman to be in a black man's body? Why not get a black child? Like, what's that Marseille? What's the girl's name from Blackish? Why did you get her? Why did you get her brother, the other twin, Jack, or whatever his name is? Like, you could have called up any black child, a real black child, because 22 is supposed to be the soul before it goes in to be born, right? Like that's what 22 is. She doesn't want to be, she doesn't want, she doesn't really see the all the hype about. She has to be convinced about the hype about being on Earth and living life in the first place. And she like likes her life before, I guess it's the great before, the great beyond, and all. It's all these other concepts. I just don't know. Whatever. If you understand what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm saying. Her name is 22. You don't need TinaFey here. You could have got Marseille. She's a big name. You could have got the guy from her brother, her twin brother Jack. He could have been, you know, 22, and then there really wouldn't be that big of an issue because at least there are black characters throughout the whole movie, and there's not a white woman inside a black man's body, and I don't have to hear a white woman, Tina Fey, voice a black character and be in like digital blackface and animated blackface. To me personally, that could have been an easy fix. Just get a different voice. I do think that it needs more than just a simple fix, though. I feel like there's so much stuff that wasn't covered. Like, why wouldn't what I would have done honestly, because Joe talks a lot about he talks like his father is a big central character, even though he's never seen until the last couple minutes, and that's only because the black guy Keith came in and put those images in there at the end, them playing the piano together, that little sequence that we see, because that wasn't in there originally because they weren't gonna have any of this. They weren't gonna have any of this in the movie about black people. They weren't gonna have black people in the movie about black people. So they could have easily, like, he's such a central figure and such a a passionate driver for Joe's own inspiration in terms of what he wants to do and living his life, because his dad also liked jazz as well and they played together. Why not have, since you set this whole thing up as his father is such a big part of his life, why not have Joe meet his father in the afterlife and then have them both stumble back down onto Earth? And then his dad ends up in Joe, and then Joe can end up in another person, a black person or whoever. And then his dad actually gets to, live out his dreams for one last time. It's sort of like a father-son like thing where his dad decides, I want to live out this dream one last time or something like that. And then his dad ends up sacrificing himself and his happiness, in terms of I'm going to, I've lived my dream now. You go on and you continue to play and be great. And that would have, how beautiful that would have been? Do you know how touching and heartfelt and heartwarming that would have been to see? Then at the end of the movie, you want the black man to sacrifice himself for this white woman. I did not come to see this. There are so many black animators out here. Go get Pixar. Go find them. Like they're on Instagram. You can go find them. I can introduce you to some. I can give you their pages. I can give you their Instagram pages. So many black creators, animation creators out here, waiting for an opportunity, and you let these white people fuck up a black story. Why? Another thing I didn't like that needs to be cut out this movie. I don't know what's the girl's name. It was like the girl he was mentoring at the beginning. Was it Chloe, Zoe, Corin, something? I don't know what her name was. Susie. Anyway, I think that people were arguing about her race. I don't care what the child's race was. She was pasty and white. I'm not gonna sit here and try to do no eugenics where I'm trying to measure her eyelids to make sure she's not Asian or whatever, or she's not Spanish. They made her her color was pasty and white. You have her in the classroom. She's the star pupil amongst all of these dark-skinned brown kids who are unruly and portrayed as unruly and untalented. Needs to go out of it. Needs to go out of the whole thing. This was like an ode to the white woman over black people type of thing, and I didn't like that. Needs to go. Needs to go. That was horrible. Just have him mentor a black kid. Just have him mentor a black kid. I also didn't like the fact that Uh, the barbershop scene, beautiful, beautiful. But Pixar's always made gorgeous films. I'm tired of people talking about how gorgeous the film is. The film is Pixar is going to has always made gorgeous films. They're going to continue to make gorgeous films. Where is the substance? Where is the substance in your work? Where is the substance in your work? Gorgeous, gorgeous. The barbershop scene. Didn't like the fact that she seems to be the white woman, TinaFey. I keep calling her the white woman. I think because I don't want to like, I do like TinaFey, so I don't want to like attribute her because I know she was just casted, but I don't want to attribute her with like the negative connotation with it. But it's like TinaFey, who was a white woman, seems to understand being black better than Joe. Didn't like that shit either. She hasn't even been born yet. She hasn't even been born yet. Yet she understands black people, how to interact with them, how to talk to them better than Joe does, who's been black his whole fucking life. Okay, okay, so we're just gonna continue with the we're gonna continue with the sort of animated blackface that white people, because that's a part of blackface as well. If you know the history of blackface, that even black artists back then when they were just doing solely blackface, like that was the form of American entertainment in terms of musicals and all that other stuff. If you know the history, you know the history. Like black artists, black performers had to dress up in blackface because they weren't seen as black enough. The white people were seen as portraying black people more accurately than black people themselves. So black people had to actually put on, in order to be able to perform and make a living, they actually had to put on blackface in order to be seen as black enough. So we're just going to continue on with that tradition, right, in this movie where like TinaFey, the white woman, knows what she knows more about what's being black than like Joe does. Okay. Also, I don't like the fact that like black people have to be other than our own movie. Why do we have to be other than our own movie? And it's really all because like this white woman is here. Like she's like, ooh, black hair, and it moves like this, and it goes like that. It's like, why can't we just be normal in our own fucking movie? Why do we have to be like, oh, black? Like, what? Like, it's just so frustrating. Another thing that I really didn't like was gets his dream, right? He gets to, like, play with Angela Bassett's character. I think her name is Althea or something like that, in the band. And he's like, oh, I guess I can die now. It's like, what? Like, this is so, like, it's just so unrealistic, so extreme. He's, like, feeling worthless again. Like, he's feeling like, I have nothing else to do. What do you mean? You just spent the whole movie complaining about how your life was meaningless because you didn't do this thing. And then you get this thing, and then you didn't want it. And then it's like, oh, well, I guess I can die now. What? And this makes him want to go sacrifice himself for this white girl. The extremes that this movie is, the pendulum is nowhere. It's like it's like we go from one extreme to my life was meaningless if I don't do this one thing, which is like, is your life meaningless if you don't achieve your dreams? Like, is that the message that we're trying to send to kids? And then it's like, then he goes to this extreme where it's like, well, I did my dream, so now I can die. And it's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay, whoa, Holiday. Wait, hold on, Holiday. You can't give it to him dry like that.
What is going on? Who wrote what? Why did you write this? Like, yes, you can be passionate about your dreams and achieving your dreams, but also like taking time to like, enjoy and smell the roses and stuff like that. Why does it have to swing on either side of the pendulum? But that's all that I got for real this time. That's all that I got. Let me know what you thought about this movie down in the comment section below. If you like any of my ideas for changes in the comment section below as well. Hopefully I'll get out videos. This video will go out sooner than later. I do have to edit this video. That's the only thing I want to do. I want to get better at editing my stuff. But I will see y'all next time for the next video. Hopefully it'll be another review. If you want me to review something, let me know down in the comment section below. and I'll see y'all next time for the next video.